gentlemen, the host and producer of Education Exchange, welcoming you to our new episode. Tonight, very important and significant episode with our school district food service and nutrition specialists and experts. On my right hand side is Allison Demory, and she is the director of nutrition service in the district. And on her right side is our specialist of purchasing and everything from menus to administration, Cindy Smith. And I would like to give you really a good time. We are going to have half an hour, let us say 27 minutes, to inform our community about the great service that you are doing.
Thank you.
So I think if you can give us an overview of the service and how the food comes from the farm to the mouths of our young kids.
Sure. Well, I think it's important to start with the fact that we have 19 elementaries, but none of them have kitchens. So the food is actually produced and prepared in one of our 3 production kitchens. City High, West High, and Northwest Junior High have production kitchens that prepare all the food for the elementary schools. And then the food gets transported in hot carts and cold carts out to all the elementary schools. And then we also have 2 other kitchens at Southeast Junior High and North Central that make food for themselves. So we have 5 kitchens in the district. 3 of them are the ones that produce for all of our elementary schools.
How big your staff is to meet all these demands?
Right. So at each one of our production kitchens, our big production kitchens, we have about 20 folks there. We have a kitchen manager and then about 19 or 20 additional staff that work there.
Cindy, you have been a veteran of this service for a long time in the district, as far as I can remember, like 45 years or so?
yeah, just about there.
She's too young for that.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Older than dirt, younger than rocks.
Perfect.
But the reason I mentioned that is because, I remember you first as kitchen manager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, already in the process. And then you moved to the administrative branch, and now you are buying and writing contracts and all that. So tell me how different your past experience with the current experience.
It's different, and yet I see it now from both sides. So I hope that I get to bring a special spin to it because I've been working in the production. I know what it's like. And I've seen the challenges and things that we have to overcome and stuff. So I can hopefully make better purchases for the district of things that we really do need and things that we can really use. As Allison said, we produce everything in basically 3 kitchens for all the elementaries. And so we need to make certain that that's stuff that travels well and holds up and is something that our students like. So it's got to meet all the criteria in order to make it to the menu. And some things don't stay for various reasons because they don't meet the criteria and they can't handle it.
Well, definitely you are doing a great job because whenever I see comments from the community about buying something or signing a contract with somebody, it's always controversial, Why this and not that? Why did you decide this? And when it comes to food, there is nothing. I haven't heard anything at all negative about it. We had a lot of trouble with the ground and yards and signs and all that, and quality care and but when it comes to your area, I think you make good decisions all the time. Now, how do you make the decision?
Well, we go out to bid.
Yeah, we go out to bid. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but we have to go out to bid just like everything in the district.
For all of our items.
Yes.
We have a primary vendor for all of our groceries that Cindy works very closely with, which is Martin Brothers currently, but we also have a milk vendor and then some miscellaneous vendors, but all of those are on a bid process.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I want to move to you because you're dealing with not only the administrative part and running all these 26 sites at the same moment, but you are dealing with the scientific part too of the nutrition.
Correct.
And I know that the scientific part of nutrition is almost always very controversial. What do you offer kids and how? And so tell me exactly what do you rely on scientifically in order to decide your plate or your tray?
So there's a lot of different factors that go into planning our menus. First, as you've referenced, is our guidelines, and those have to do with the nutritional component and the guidelines to meet those specific requests. But there are also other things like Cindy talked about. Because the food is coming from a separate location, we have to make sure that it holds up and transports well. An example of that would be, it's hard for us to do like French fries and tater tots and those kind of things because by nature they don't hold heat very well, they don't transport very well, they tend to get kind of mushy, and so they don't make a good product at the elementary school. So there are some issues like that we have to look at, the transport. We also have to look at what our production limitations are within every kitchen. We can't have a menu that has 6 items that go in the oven, so we have to look at how things are prepared. We also look at our cost. That's a big piece for us. We need to make sure that we are planning and serving affordable meals. And Cindy does a great job with that. We utilize commodity items in addition to the food items that we purchase through our vendors. And those help us remain financially in a good place. And so there's lots of pieces to the menu puzzle. We kind of start with the menu guidelines and make sure that we're meeting those needs. Every week we have to make sure that there are fruits and veggies on, and we have to have 5 different subgroups of the veggies. Those have to be represented every week. So that's the first piece that we look at, is the nutritional guidelines.
I want you to walk me through the process of supervision and how the federal as well as the state intervene with your decision making.
So they give us the guidelines and we follow those. So the guidelines went into effect school year 2012-13, and the new guidelines were part of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act, and so we implemented those guidelines, and then there were some spreadsheets and so forth that we had to fill out and return to the Department of Ed to make sure that that our guidelines met the requirements, and then we qualified for the additional 6 cents reimbursement because they knew that to follow the guidelines might cost us a little more. And so they did provide us then with that extra 6 cents. So to kind of back up the truck a little bit, every school lunch consists of 5 components. There's the meat or meat alternate, the grains, fruits, vegetables, and milk. And kids can take all 5, and we encourage them to do that, but they have to take at least 3 of those 5 components. And starting with the 12-13 school year, one of the 3 had to be a fruit or vegetable. And that was different than it had ever been before. And it did take the students a little while to get used to that. I think there was a lot of negative press about the guidelines, and it has become kind of a political issue as well. As a dietitian, I feel like it's not a bad thing to have fruits and vegetables, that it's a bad thing that it has become a political agenda, but that in the end, if kids eat more fruits and vegetables, that's a good thing. But with our guidelines, we know that we have to offer the 5 components, and with the vegetables, for example, there's 5 subgroups, and we have to meet all those by offering a serving of each every week. We work hard to provide great kid-friendly menu items. So we know that it might meet the requirement, but it might not be something that kids like to eat, and nobody wins if we throw it away. So we work hard. Cindy's a big piece of that. Our team all works together to make sure that we are writing menus that are parent-pleasing and are kid-friendly, meet all of our guidelines, are affordable.
It's with no doubt an extremely challenging situation when you have now very high diverse population in our schools.
That's a great
coming
point,
with
yes.
Various cultural backgrounds, and they are all in this melting pot,
Right.
trying to assimilate, but then they go home and what did you eat today? And the kids sometimes get confused, especially with new immigrants to the country here. So how do you sometimes meet this challenge of this rising number of newcomers to our nation?
Well, Iowa City is a great melting pot, and we have lots of different cultures here. We try to listen to the students. Part of my job is to go out and observe lunches and stuff, talk to the students, and ask them, what did you think of this? Beans is one of the things that we have to offer a minimum of once a week. And legume choices. So green beans don't count as a bean. Everybody gets really confused about that.
Right.
So
that should be dry.
yeah, well, so we've tried to put on some different items, and we try to get some feedback and stuff. And we do use some of our high schools and a couple of our elementaries. Sometimes we put out some different items just to try items on, to see if we can mass produce it, how well it holds up, and to see if it's something that we could put on the menu as a monthly or bi-monthly product.
What is the scenario now you are going to decide the menu for? Do you meet like on weekly basis, monthly? How do you?
We write the menu on a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis. So you have like a committee or
Well,
meeting?
it starts in the food service office, in the
Yes.
nutrition services office. Cindy's kind of the first line and make sure that we have all of our guidelines in place, and I look at it to make sure that we are offering good choices with a nice variety. And we also include our kitchen managers at our production sites to make sure that we haven't missed any production issues or complications, and they also kind of look at the transport issue. Because everything has to go out, we're limited on space. So sometimes they might come back and say, you've got too many things to go in the hot cart. We need to rethink this. So we do look at the menu from lots of different angles before we come up with the final version. And it's important to note, too, that every day students have a choice of 2 entrees, 2 vegetables, 2 fruits. So for those kids that it's not necessarily an intolerance or an allergy, but they prefer one thing over the other, we do offer those options. And then we also accommodate allergies and
let us take milk for instance, because this is probably the most, as far as people coming from Africa, from the Middle East, from Southern Europe, have a lot of a very high rate of milk intolerance, lactose intolerance in particular. Do you offer something in this area like?
That's probably our most common restriction,
Yeah.
that and nuts. So we can offer them juice, or we do have soy milk or some different options that way.
Good.
For students, for our lactose intolerant students. We are a nut sensitive area. In other words, we don't menu any items that have nuts or peanuts. But when you are in a lunchroom, we don't call it peanut or nut free, just because although we encourage other students not to bring those items in their lunch from home, we can't guarantee that they won't. And Cindy and I have talked about this many times. We try to make sure that we never purchase an item that has been produced in a peanut plant, But every once in a while that happens too, just
Yeah.
because we don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, sometimes it's in the fine print,
Yeah.
or in, you find out at a conference or something that wasn't on the package to start with, and you're kind of,
Sure.
ooh.
So we do our very best,
Yeah.
but we don't want to give anybody a false sense of security that, again, we try to be peanut and nut sensitive, but we never make the statement that we guarantee, because for those students that are highly allergic, we want to make sure that they are aware of the possible contamination from other students bringing their lunch from home.
I have a fresh idea in my mind. I just came from parent-teacher conference at West High, where my kid is a student there, and I know that I'm coming to see you after half an hour, so I'm finishing my conference quickly, and in my mind, is there a possibility that there will be a representative of your department in these conferences, sometime, for just parents who are interested or inquisitive?
Sure.
Or curious a little bit
Sounds like a
about
good
this?
idea.
Yeah.
We've not done that in the
Yeah.
past, but
Just sitting at the
Mhm.
table waiting, maybe
Mhm.
you get one person, but that's at least
we're always
you
there during
answer,
registration at the beginning
well,
of the
my
school year.
kid had lunch and got there.
Oh,
so
sure.
So that you
Sure.
can answer all these concerns, and I thought maybe we can trap Steve Marley when he comes here, and we ask him to do that.
Well, we'd be more than
but-
happy to.
But I
Yep.
hope
Yeah.
the board is going to support us with that too. This is. I know that the idea about. You are dealing with a lot of things, including the fact that now we classify kids as far as the level of financial
Mhm.
situation, according to the lunch.
Right.
There is something that I want to ask you about the account guidelines.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on this?
So every year there's a new set of income guidelines. So students have to apply, or families need to apply every year, and if they qualify, they can possibly be eligible for reduced meals or free meals. It is a yearly process, and I think families misunderstand that the income guidelines change yearly, and so they have to do a new application every year. Starting last year, we have new software that allows families to do that income application online. Historically, there was only just the paper copy, but the online free and reduced application is a quick turnaround once they get on
And more private.
It is more private, absolutely. And so, and that's the other thing to note on this whole process. It's a very confidential process, that it's all done in the Nutrition Services office, and we don't share that information unless families sign a waiver and tell us that they are agreeable to share that information, which is sometimes used for other school fees. So if I have filled out an application and I've qualified for free meals and I sign the waiver, I may also then get free or reduced school fees. So families then, by signing that waiver, say it's okay to share that information with others in the district that administer those programs.
This topic, I don't know how. What are the logistics behind it? But I heard that in certain states, like New Mexico, for instance, and some states in the South where poverty level is high, business, especially food industry, they donate a lot of things to school districts. And I know that it happened here, at least during my service in the alternative education. We are celebrating Thanksgiving, like Hy-Vee, for instance, or this or that. There was a chain called Sara Lee Eagle before. They would donate turkeys, during that for the families and all that.
Sure.
And that was a good idea. Do we have this?
Well, yes,
are you
there are
open
some.
for that?
Yes, there are some programs through the government as well. So this year at Tate Elementary, they qualified for the Community Eligibility Provision, which is a new program this year, where all the students there can eat breakfast and lunch for free. And that's because so many of them qualified as free through what they call a directly certified route. So because of that, we were able as a district to allow all those students to eat for free, which is a great thing, because as you said it in the opening, we know that kids learn best when their stomachs are full. Exactly. So they can think about their studies versus their hunger. And so Tate is one that is able to participate in the community eligibility provision. We also have 4 schools that have what we call a universal breakfast, which means that the free and reduced rate is so high at those schools that we can allow all the kids to eat for free. We only get reimbursed for those free students, but it's enough to cover the whole school, because those schools their free and reduced rate is up around 70%.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
Great.
So those are some of the programs that we have been able to implement throughout the district to help more students eat.
I know that in Tate, for instance, there was a project to make a culinary course where kids can cook their own meal, they can plant their own
yes, there
fruit,
was that, and they used the school kitchen there.
Right.
Was kind of a community kitchen that they would go in and they would learn on. They would use the equipment and stuff, and they made homemade noodles. They cooked off turkeys, I think, for Thanksgiving. They made a chili supper, and they've done a lot of great programs there.
Now on the screen, as you see, we have our director here has put your menu here, right?
Correct. So the things to note on this menu are, in addition to just the choices that we offer every day, you'll see a little tractor icon, and that indicates our farm to school products. We've worked hard to try to get fresh and local whenever we can. In Iowa, we have it's a little more challenging, but I think September was a great month. We're able to offer lots of farm to school items. And then you can see that there's a little pig by any item that contains pork. And we think that's important to let our students and families know, for those that need to avoid pork. That seems to be one of the bigger issues throughout the district.
Kosher or Islamic or...
Yes. Yeah. So those, and then the vegetables are color-coded, as we've talked about the different subgroups that we have to provide for the vegetables. So we color-code them on our menu so that families are able to see all the different subgroups that we offer.
And I think the students kind of like that, because then the students and the teachers can do that as part of their learning curriculum too. You can go back to, well, this is what you had for school lunch. Do you see where it comes into play? And we've done different programs like that. And we're working with the Extension Office for Pick a Better Snack. We haven't started that this year, but a lot of times at the top of the menu, last year we had the Pick a Better Snack, and we try to implement that also in the
they do a great job with that.
Monthly cycle.
Well, you are doing a great job, and it has been delightful seeing you this evening.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best and all the success. And as you fill the stomach, you fill the mind too, which is very, very important.
Well said.
So thank you.
Thank you
for a wonderful meeting tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, when we wrap this up, any questions that you have, now you know who are the main players in the district. Don't hesitate to send them questions, discuss with them. They are open for all your concerns and all the diversity issues that are included here. If you are coming from another country and you have certain demands or certain concerns, please don't hesitate to call Allison Demory and express your views. And thank you again.
Thanks for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening, and best regards from our staff at Education Exchange.